Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Talk Live. Good to have you in with us this morning. If you want to chat with us, be sure and check in with us and make your comments. We want to start off this morning by talking about some high school wrestling. Guys, we've got a couple fellows here in the county that have done real well. Kenny, why don't you give us
we've got two, uh, and both are juniors. Logan McBee from Shelbyville is, I understand, wrestling for third today, which means he will medal because in state wrestling, the top six wrestlers get a medal. So Logan today is wrestling for third, and the first Cascade wrestler to ever make it to the state and wrestle for a medal is Isaac Chapa. He's a junior, and he'll be wrestling for fifth today at 10 o'clock in the 195-pound class. And again, he's the first Cascade. He's not the first one to ever go to the state, but he's the first Cascade wrestler ever to wrestle for a state to medal in the state.
two major achievements right there.
Absolutely. And hey, with wrestling is all you.
It is.
It's nobody but you. And congratulations to these young men. Hopefully they're both successful today. Not sure what time Logan wrestles, but kudos out. Coach Andy Gill at Cascade started a program back a couple of years ago. I'm not sure who the wrestling coach is at Shelbyville now, but I know Shelbyville's had some success in the past in wrestling.
Yeah.
And but yeah, congratulations to those guys. You don't hear about wrestling much anymore.
No, you don't.
But it's a commitment sport.
I remember back in the day, back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, when I was in school, we would actually have pep rallies for the wrestling team, and we would have actual matches that they would check out. We'd let us go out of school, go to the gym, and there would be matches going on, and we could sit right there, and it was like the place.
Then there was a gap when we didn't have wrestling.
I know when I was a junior at Cascade, Tony Matusik was my football coach.
Yeah.
And during the offseason, we'd never seen it. And he got some mats, and we rolled them out in the locker room in there after season was over, and we were doing conditioning, and we wrestled. Man, I loved it. It was fun wrestling there, and I would have liked to have tried it. I'd have had to work the whole lot because I had too much extra weight. Because wrestling, I mean, the thing about wrestling is you can be 109 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Wrestling against another 109 pounders.
Right. Yeah.
And they move up it and all the way up to, like, I think I heard somebody talking about on the radio this morning, 286.
Wow.
So you got these, and you get to compete against people your own size. And
yeah,
it's not like football where you got to go up against Kenny at 280 pounds and I'm 150. You know, because
they just run around him,
right?
Run around him.
Well, I remember back in the day, Coach Matusik was the high school wrestling coach at Shelbyville when I was in high school, and we had a couple of boys, the Fulton boys, that were twins, Donnie and Lonnie Fulton. They went on and did well in the state. And then Ben Hilliard and his brother, they were lightweights like you're talking about. They were in the 120, 130 pound range, and they went deep and did well. So Coach Matusik he's got a lot of history with wrestling, and that's why he brought those mats out.
I'm telling you what, I loved it. I really did. I would have liked to have went on. I remember at Shelbyville when Bill Lewis had wrestling, we had a couple of guys, and I used to make fun of them. Chad Harvey. I love Chad Harvey to death, but he had his jacket on, and he had all these baby pins, these baby diaper pins.
Yeah.
I said, Chad, what's wrong? You can't keep your diaper up? He said, Coach, you get one of these every time you pin somebody.
There you go.
He had a big old list of, and it was pretty neat.
And we'd gone through a gap at Central, I believe, about 10 years or longer before Coach Lewis brought it back when we didn't have wrestling.
Yeah, that's probably when Tony left.
And we didn't have it at all.
Do you know what you call the cheerleaders for wrestling?
Mat mates.
Mat mates. Mat mates.
Yep.
Hey, and they're girls. They've got girls
I heard
Wrestling
that.
Now.
I heard that was
There was
Well, that's
I-
something new.
I saw a thing on TV the other night where this girl was the county beauty queen, like the celebration beauty queen, and the state high school wrestling champion.
That's a odd
And
combination.
she
isn't it?
said she would give up the beauty pageant stuff for wrestling.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, got these,
Good
to
luck
these
to
two
these
young
two
men.
young men.
Right,
Congratulations.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
All right, high school basketball. All the girls were in action last night. Bill, why don't you give us some
We'll start with
scores and
Webb.
we'll talk about it. Talk about
Webb girls
yeah.
last Saturday night, which our show was on Saturday, they beat Middle Tennessee Christian 62-34. Then last night they beat Fayette Academy 83-23.
Yeah,
So they're now 30-4, number one in the state of Tennessee.
they're rolling.
They're
Yeah,
rolling.
they're pretty good.
Yeah, and then the community girls, they had a win against Whites Creek. Is that right?
They beat Whites Creek 71-22.
Pretty
So
good win.
they played last night at home.
They did.
And now the Cascade girls went to Pearl Cone last
Mhm.
night.
And they lost 59-38.
And then the Shelbyville girls
The rest of that region for community hosts
yes.
the next four games.
So they have the region
Mhm.
from here on out till state.
But now the previous
They
Monday
decide
night,
to
the
stay.
Cascade girls had a nice win over Grundy County.
Yeah, that was
a nice
a
win
big
for them.
win
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them.
and that's
It
a big
was.
step for them
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
now
they have no seniors.
yeah,
I mean, they have no seniors. I don't believe they have any seniors.
well, they've got blue skies ahead for them.
Yeah, they're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and we've talked numerous times about playing freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
And now
that's
the community girls are officially, and they have been ranked in the mid-state. I think they're number 7.
yeah.
They
so
may make a nice little run here.
Yes,
They
yes,
sure might.
yes.
Central went to where they
Girls.
go to Bradley
Central.
Central.
Mhm.
And Bradley Central they're one of the top teams
I
in
think
the
they
state.
probably are the top.
Yeah,
What's that? Is that 4A team in the state?
yeah.
They were
4A,
like
yeah.
34-1 or something.
Well, it wasn't a good night for Shelbyville.
Well, I having to go down there.
Yeah.
I know they left at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
because that's a pretty good haul.
You can
3
remember
hours
even
for
when,
a bus,
even when
yeah.
Coach Insel had it going on, we were playing Bradley Central in the sub-state state tournament for state championships. Bradley Central has always been a power in women's basketball.
Yeah, and
For the
I
last 30 years.
and I really think Shelbyville coach done a pretty good job.
Oh, I do too.
They really don't have a big girl.
Again, freshmen, sophomores.
They're
very young.
they're still young.
Yeah. So the blue skies for them coming up next year. And, you know, that's a good way to end, to get to have those wins there late so they can get in this tournament and play and have an opportunity to move forward if they want to.
Mhm.
And,
I know tonight the boys play.
Yeah.
McMinn County.
Shelbyville boys are going to McMinn
McMinn,
County.
yeah.
Community boys
Community
are going to
plays,
Whites Creek, I believe.
They are.
Community at Whites Creek and
Uh-huh.
Cascades at home with Lead Academy.
Right.
Coach
And-
Robbie Davis said tonight got a big win over Chapel Hill.
Sure
He
was.
beat.
That's a big.
That's a
I
big
mean,
win for Robbie. the
Hey,
boys.
that's yes. And I know talking to the coach from Cascade, they got a good break the other day because they're playing. Robbie's playing Whites Creek.
Yep.
They were upset. White Creek going in was the number 2 team.
Oh, wow.
So now they're going to have to turn around if they were and play the East Nashville team that's so good, which puts Cascade over in the opposite
It's a
bracket.
bracket.
They're
yeah.
not going to have to play but one of them, not both of them.
Right.
So that was a big break for Cascade. And then Webb's got to be playing tonight.
Luzanne. And I don't know where that is. You
Yeah,
think
but-
it's West Tennessee?
I think it's with they have their athletics has been Luzanne's been pretty good football.
Who's Cascades boys have a team they're playing? I believe it's tonight called Lead Academy. Who's that?
Lead Academy.
Where's that at?
It's out of Nashville.
Okay.
And we've played them. Our Cascades played them back when I was in school, our coaching, and then as soon as I got out, they're usually always pretty good. But listen,
Where's that game at? Is it out here?
it's at Cascade. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody,
'Cause this is sectionals or regionals of
This
some
is
state we used to
regional.
call it.
and the quarterfinal of the region, the number 1 and the number 2 team, the higher seed team plays at home.
Okay.
And then it goes to a central location. again this year. Cascade,
Community.
Community's hosting it, and I'm not sure who's hosting the Shelbyville.
That region.
And think about that. The region Shelbyville's in, they have to go to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
For a region game.
Well, think about this. Division 2 with Webb, okay? They're not broke down in regions like we do. They could have to go from here to Kingsport or here to Memphis.
The way they do that is totally different. Yeah. And they'll finish up. They'll play their state championship a week or so before.
Right. There's so few teams to work through. The way it's looking right now, they're in the final 8 right now. Off the bracket here, and that's and they might have to travel to Memphis one day, and then 2 days, 3 days later, until they get to the state, they might have to travel east. So because of the way it's made
I believe they have their state championship at Lipscomb.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
And the other state championships are still at Middle.
It's at Middle.
We've got these 4 games tonight for our boys. Everybody get out and support them. If you hadn't made plans, Cascade is playing at home. Isn't that correct?
I'm not sure what the time is, but
I had that written down. But it's 7 o'clock.
It's 7.
I'd say
the
7.
only one that wasn't didn't have a time written down was the Webb. I posted this on Bedford County Sports, and I just put time.
Are they at home?
They are away.
They are away.
They had to travel, so they're on a long trip. But we wish them the best. Hope we're here talking about them next week. And
Absolutely.
But moving on, college basketball. What do you fellas think about our Tennessee Volunteers at the moment?
Listen, to me, I don't watch a whole lot of college basketball, be honest with you. I listen to a little bit of it. Parody. It's not parody, but there's not a standout.
Alabama,
there's
not
a
out to me.
Well, they get beat. I did watch Alabama the other night when they played South Carolina and should have been beat.
They should have.
I'm telling you right now, South Carolina shot the rock the other night.
You had a lot of controversy there, a lot of issues going into it, and they still found a way to win the game.
And they're going to have it every game they play.
Right.
It's going to be there every game, especially when they're on the road. It's going to be there.
Kudos to the Miller kid for putting up 41 with all that going on. He played great.
Yeah, and this is his last year.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah, they say he's probably the top pick.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on there, and I'm not gonna speak about anything I don't know about.
I think Alabama's got 3 or 4 guys that could be first round picks. That's how good I think they are.
I think they
3 or 4.
According to what the commentators were saying at the game, I don't disagree with you. And South Carolina had a freshman that's probably going to be 17-year-old freshman.
Now, I will say, watching the Tennessee-Texas A&M game, what's got to impress you with A&M, the way they attack the basket, everything's driving. They're getting after it. Now, they didn't shoot it well, but Tennessee, there's some vibes here I don't like.
And Alabama goes to A&M here.
That'd be a good ball game.
I don't know how much.
Believe it or not, A&M started the year off like 6-5 and had lost to Wofford and a bunch of small schools. They're all over the coach. He's lost 2 SEC games. That's it.
And look at what Stackhouse is doing at Vanderbilt. They've turned their season around.
They're getting better.
You notice what we're talking about here. We're talking about SEC basketball just like we talk about SEC football. You look at baseball. We talked last week about the top 10 having 6. Or was it more than
7?
7 in the top 10.
That won't be next week, the SEC didn't do too good in baseball.
But that's all right. But listen,
and the softball same way in the SEC.
Let's think about this. The SEC has turned into the dominant sports league in college athletics across the board now. Now, 20 years ago, you would have said baseball and football, definitely. But now it's across the board.
You're bringing Texas and Oklahoma in.
There's a reason for that. Is they're putting a lot of emphasis in it. You look at the facilities, the money they're putting into it, the climate. People want to come here. The support that they get from attendance,
being on TV. I don't
Yeah.
care if you're the worst team in the SEC. All these games are on television. And that means a lot to these kids.
Yeah.
They want to be on ESPN. They want to be on television.
But they're performing. All of them, all
Sure,
these teams
yes.
are. I mean, I don't care if you're the bottom SEC school, number one SEC school plays them, and they're worried about them.
Mhm.
I mean, top to bottom now, that schedule is
That's
tough.
right. I agree.
And
In almost all sports.
yeah, and I'm just anxious to see how many SEC basketball teams end up in the tournament and how many make it to Sweet 16. I bet we'll have at least 4 or 5 in the Sweet 16.
And I
If
think
it
you got
plays
some
out
teams.
right.
I think you got some teams in the SEC. You got everybody knows about Alabama, but I think you got A&M who can make a run. Arkansas got that big, really good player back that's been
Right.
gone all year. They're playing better. Here's my sleeper that I've been watching, and they're starting to come on. It's Kentucky, and I hate
Yeah.
to say it.
Mhm.
He's got the players.
Yeah, they played.
He might just get in there and make a nice run
You
here.
never know. I mean,
And I'm talking make the run in the SEC tournament. I could see them in the finals or
well,
being
you
right
win
there.
2 games and you're in the Sweet 16. So, I mean, you look at the way this thing plays out.
And I just
And
hate it for
SEC 's loading
Tennessee
that bracket
because
up.
you've lost 5 of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, maybe
but
if you get these 2 kids back, it's going to help. But you want going into the tournament, you want to be playing your best ball. You don't want to be on the streak we're on.
Maybe the
Mhm.
SEC tournament, they can get it turned around.
Where's
for
the tournament?
For the big dance.
Where's the tournament this year? I can't even remember.
I don't even know. I hadn't been
Hadn't
paying
paid
attention
attention.
Not
to
in
it. I've been
Nashville,
just-
is it?
No, it's not
No,
Nashville this
no.
year.
But anyway, SEC is just dominant these days, and
MTSU girls back winning again. They're 22-4. They
back in
are
the top
at La
25.
Tech.
Back in the
I
top
believe they're back in the
25.
top
too.
25.
23, I think, is what
I
they
think that's
came out
right.
at. So
So they're back winning again.
they're having a good year. All right, let's shift gears now, and I think professional football is a 365-day-a-year topic these days.
it's getting to be, and I think they want it to be
Yes.
that.
Oh, they're brilliant how they play it, aren't they?
Well,
yeah.
they got the NFL Network. Man, they're talking news every day.
Well, they're talking that, but listen, the XFL and what's the other one
USFL,
keeps you into football,
right?
and if it's into football, the NFL is not going to let you talk about the XFL. They're not going
Right.
to let you talk
Right.
about they're going to have to make sure they keep their stuff up. And with free agency and these contracts and the draft coming up, there's
Have you
a
heard the AJ
whole lot-
McCarron story?
Oh, yeah.
AJ McCarron is starting in the USFL
Uh-huh.
for, is it San Antonio?
St.
Yeah,
Louis,
yeah,
St. Louis,
St. Louis Battle
Yeah.
Hawks.
All right.
Battle Hawks.
They're 2-0, and the only reason he says he plays so his sons could watch him play ball.
The other day, I had, of course, I'm an Alabama fan. Didn't watch the game. Just they played on Thursday night, and I watched very little of it because the weather was so good. I went and sat out on the porch. But that comeback win,
Yes.
they interviewed him right after the game, and he was talking about it. But when his 2 boys came running to him, he had tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
Because he said, "This is the reason
Yeah.
I'm playing the game right now."
Did you see how
I
they come
wanted
back?
my kids, I wanted
Yeah,
my
want the
boys,
boys
to
to
see
see
me
it.
play.
Do you know the ruling? You can now not do an onside kick. Take the ball at the 40-yard line,
No.
4th and 15.
No.
At the 30.
Yeah, well, it's at your own 25.
25.
Right, it's
Okay.
4th
See,
and 15.
they've got a rule where if you put the ball on the 3, there's no extra points.
Right.
You put it on the 3 to go for 1,
1.
5 to go for 2, 10 to go for 3.
Right.
And then there's no onside kick.
You can onside
You
kick,
can.
but it's
Or
option.
you can option for the
Yeah,
4th and
yeah,
15.
you can. Yeah,
and you
get
put
at
it on the
25.
25.
Gotta get to the 40.
And you got it's
One
4
play.
it's 4th and 15.
Yeah.
And he got 22 yards.
Yeah, got 22 yards, and you can come back. That's how they won that game.
Mhm.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah,
It
because
is.
It's
they
fun to
scored-
watch.
But that's
they were
Bill,
a minute.
changing
There was a
football.
minute and 33
that's
seconds.
football.
Yeah.
Minute and 33 seconds. Yeah, but it's entertaining, and that's what it's about.
I
It's
tell you something,
entertainment.
guys. There was some good football played. I watched 2 games,
Hey, I'm telling you right
and
now,
they got some talent on
them
those
old
teams.
boys play it.
Yes.
because
They play hard.
like
Several,
it.
several
talking
Tennessee.
about collisions.
Yeah,
Oh, there's some collisions that my son and I, we jumped a little bit in
Yeah.
our chair.
yeah.
And legal collisions. Yeah, it's
That's-
fun. You know very few of the players, but they're playing because that thing right there is beating.
Exactly.
And I didn't realize Aaron's there's a guy that he works with at Green Bay that's working with the team out of Seattle. And so they've been communicating back and forth.
By the way, the Seattle team has some really cool helmets that I thought you
don't
would
you-
like.
don't
I
they?
did. I
Don't
thought
you
of
like-
I thought
yeah.
of Kenny when I saw those helmets. I said,
thought,
you must have designed them.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I like that. And I'll
Look
tell you
good.
another one that I liked, and you would have never thought it. The Washington team that's just red and white. And they got and it's just a plain old Penn State like. But Aaron was saying in this league, you've got Seattle, you've got St. Louis, you've got these other places. Both teams fly together in the same plane. This whole thing is based in Dallas,
Right.
Texas. Everybody's practices and stays in Dallas. But the other night, when St. Louis played Seattle, both the Seattle team and the St. Louis team were on the same plane. One of them gets the front half, the other one gets the back half, and they fly to that place, and then they all fly back on the same plane. And it's all both teams. There, you can say like, well, it was a short week, but Seattle had the advantage because they got to play at home, so they didn't have no. Both teams, and the guy likes it. He really does.
Yeah, there were 5 UT Volunteers playing in one of the games the other night. 2 on one team, 3 on the other. I can't remember who they were, but you would know their names if we were tossed out. So there's a lot of local, regional college players that we watch play college ball. They're playing in that league and the USFL. It's interesting to see them continue their career.
Watching the game the other night, I'm talking about the Washington, the DC, they're the DC something, I don't remember.
Commanders. No, Defenders.
Defenders. They
Better
were
name than the Commanders, actually.
They were playing in the soccer stadium there, and the fan. This is the first game of the season. The fans got so mad at some of the calls that they're throwing lemons.
Yeah.
Whole lemons, half lemons, evidently some kind of drink on the field.
You know, I heard the attendance on the average. They averaged it. It's like over 20,000 for every game averaged together. That's pretty good.
TV ratings were bad.
Were they?
Yeah, they were worse than they were before.
Well, but I think they will get. But I'm telling you what, it's an interesting game to watch, and their kickoff. They tee the ball up at the 30. The other 11, 10 of them are on the 30. The other 10 are on the 35. It's like old dodgeball. You have to have your foot on that line, and then you got one guy back deep. The ones that are lined up on the 30 and the 35 cannot get off of that line until the guy catches the ball.
Yeah.
And when he catches it, then they can pursue or defend. If the ball hits the ground, it's the old backyard 1,001, 1,002, 1,003 go. Hey, we see this. Is it? No, it's not NFL football, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's
fun to watch. It's football.
Yeah.
It's collision. It's 4 downs to get 10 yards.
Yeah.
And they've got another thing in it that I really like. They have one challenge.
Yeah, I did
that
like
you
that.
can challenge
Anything. Yeah, one time.
One time, as long as you got one time out left.
We got a comment from Aaron Parker. You know the guy?
No, I don't know him.
The Defenders' helmets have the white camo pattern in the background. They are slick. That's his comment.
They are. They're like the white.
Yep.
And it's got the little white camo. And then they're on the side of their helmet is a red D. But what distinguishes a D is on the inside of it where you normally have the open spot. It's got a C in it for their DC.
Yeah.
And
pretty cool.
Red mask. It was just Sort of reminded me of Wisconsin, where they just, one color,
Yeah.
no
Plain,
border around
yeah.
the numbers or anything. Pretty neat. Yeah, I like watching that stuff.
Yeah, they got games today, so I got to
Yeah.
check it out.
Talking
All right.
about where the NFL's so smart.
Well, you're our NFL source, so tell me.
Well,
Yeah.
we were talking about how smart they are. Think about this. On February 28th, you get the NFL scouting combine.
Right.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it is.
March 15th, free agency.
Right.
They don't give you, they keep you interested. April 28th,
Draft.
NFL draft.
And that's massive.
So the draft's huge.
Yeah.
And then on the end of May, they do that big schedule release. Well, guess what June is? It's mini camp.
Yeah.
So if you think about
Every
it,
month.
the NFL's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Well,
They
no,
never
hey,
go away totally.
But right after the draft, you've got OTAs.
Oh, you got OTAs?
Yeah, you got OTAs.
But that
right
schedule release, the
But-
ratings on it are huge when they come out with the schedule that Thursday night.
Think about the draft now and what the NFL has done. It's not in what was that Rainbow Hall or whatever it is. It's at
Nashville, Tennessee.
It's
with
at-
500,000 people there.
It's at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's going to be at Kansas City.
It's an event.
It's
It
Detroit
is.
this year, I believe.
But wherever, it's
This year, I
just
think it's Detroit.
yes.
And they want to come back to Nashville.
They do.
again.
When
Oh,
you
they
get this
do.
new stadium, they're coming back.
Yeah. Well,
and think about we're locals. It came to Nashville. Where are they going to put something like this? You see how they built these facilities on the riverbank? It took them 2 weeks to build it or 3, and then it's like, and they look great on TV.
Nashville
And
changed
then they went-
the
and
NFL
then-
draft
yeah.
forever.
And then they
shut down.
disassembled them and-
Well, they shut down Broadway,
Yeah.
and it was a mass.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a massive crowd there.
But they didn't have any problems.
No.
no.
But it reset. Everybody now is trying to do what Nashville did
Yes.
because Nashville set the bar.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
did. All right, let's think about this too, Kenny. You being a football coach, you know this, and we watch and we get to see it. When football season is over, the day after the season, your mind shifts automatically to next season. I mean, you don't get a day off. You're thinking, you're preparing for next year, the day the season ends.
It's a little easier in high school
Right.
than it is collegiately, and it's even different professionally.
Right.
Because in high school, you get to work with the kid, and you automatically go to you take a little bit of time, but I don't care who you are, you're still thinking about next year,
Yeah.
and what you're going to do, who you lost. And I always said you don't appreciate who you had until you don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
And then in college, they're what they got. They go back and recruit to what they've lost.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, this free agency, this money, you got players that are making more than their coaches.
Yeah. A lot more.
A lot more than their coaches, and you don't know how it goes. And some coaches are successful in high school. They can't coach in college.
Yeah.
Some guys are successful in college. They can't coach in the pros.
Yeah.
There's some guys that are successful in the pros that they can't coach in college. Here's the trend that you're going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing a lot of college coaches go to the NFL because collegiately it's around the clock.
24/7, 365.
Yeah.
You've got to recruit. You're a coach at Tennessee. You may be on the coast of California or Washington recruiting. In the NFL, it's not that way. You don't go out and recruit, and there's a lot more freedom of they work, but when they're working, they can go home to their family.
Yeah.
In college, when they're working, they may be spending the night in a hotel 3,000 miles from home and don't get to see your family except when you FaceTime them on the phone.
And speaking about that phone, social media has changed the game as well because Twitter, whoever tweets today is going to make a headline.
Social media has changed the world.
It has. And you look at how football is. A.J. Brown can make a tweet, and it ripples news for a month. You know, Aaron Rodgers,
Whether
make a
it's
tweet.
true or false.
Exactly. If it's just a comment.
Or whether he actually did it or not. You
Exactly.
don't know if
Well,
it was actually him.
You could go on there and type in "dadgum" like that, and somebody's going to make a story up out of it and talk about it for a month.
Especially what your name.
Exactly.
Kenny Parker can do it, and there may be a few people locally that would say something because they know me.
Yeah.
But nobody in Texas or Kentucky's going to say anything.
No.
But you get somebody that's known, it's a.
And then we have inside scoop from inside sources. Bill, what are you hearing with our Titans?
Hey, this is a big week for the Titans. You know, we were $25 million over the cap going into the week.
And I'm going to tell you, Lawan is I don't know that the Titans have lost anything.
I don't either.
Because
saved me $15 million.
Last 3 years, he's played 20 games.
He's been out of 30.
And not to say that he wasn't a great player when he was healthy, but
he never lived up to the second contract.
Right.
No, a lot of times that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
That first 5 years, he was a very good player.
A lot of times when they get that big second contract,
they stay hurt.
They don't have the thing to play for. They got their money. They got and the way they have to do these contracts now to scatter it all around because you got to stay under the cap is they do this guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So guaranteed money means you're gonna get it. Mm-hmm. Now I didn't realize guaranteed money doesn't mean that you're gonna get it all today.
No.
Guaranteed money means they're going to space it over 3 years. And when somebody like Lawan, they release him, well, that guaranteed money he had, there may be $6 million that was to come out of it for this year and $2 million to come out of it for last year. That's what they refer to as they have to eat
the dead money
cap space. They have to eat.
Now, in Lawan's case, it's $14.8 million. There was no money for him. He gets zero. His contract.
So that just goes. That comes off.
They've already given.
They cut Randy Bullock.
Right.
Had no money there. That was $2.5 million.
That was a shocker to me. I thought they'd keep him.
Bullock.
I think the rookie kicker they had out of Iowa was
I think
better.
They got somebody that
okay.
He kicked it well with a big leg.
Yes,
Sullick, I think was his name, out of Iowa. Zach Cunningham, they cut. Now there was a little dead money with him, about $1 million, and Robert Wood saved $12.5 million. So now the Titans are 12.5, nearly $13 million under the cap. So they saved about $38 million. The next name to watch is Bud Dupree. Now there's two things. I thought they'd cut him, save about $10 million, or they can wait post June 1 and save 15. I fully now expect them that they're going to work a trade
with him
to someone else because he's still a pretty good pass rusher.
He's got some,
and he would only cost the trade team $9 million, which for a pretty good rusher, I think you're going to see him traded for a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick.
Why not try to get 2?
I don't think he'll bring that. And this was the problem with some of these guys, like Dupree. Has he been the same player since the ACL?
No.
And availability is the problem.
But here's the thing. You got to be a gambler. You got to be a gambler.
There's no doubt.
You hit them sometimes with the Jeffrey Simmons.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't. And here's the thing about the Titans: signing these big time free agents, they haven't done very well with that.
No.
Julio,
that was a bust.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Bust.
Was a bust. The what was the guy that came from Atlanta that was supposed to be so good? Beasley, 44.
Total bust.
Bust.
Yeah. Clowney, no.
Yeah. Our record's not good.
No, we missed on too many of them.
But here's the thing. The fan base wanted them.
Yeah.
If they don't, if the Titans don't sign Clowney,
right.
If they don't sign Julio, the media is going to eat them. Because they let them get away, just like.
But the Julio one's a killer because y'all realize he's going to count $9.8 million against our cap. Hadn't been here in 2 years.
Still,
That was a bad.
And the
a bad
reason
deal.
reason for that is
bad
the
deal.
reason for that is when they signed him, they had to keep his guaranteed, and they a lot of times you keep.
You would have almost been better off to have kept Julio
I was
rather
going
than
to say
cut
a
him.
lot of times you keep those kind of people because you're going to have to pay for them whether they're playing for you or not.
Right. Might as well have them and not have them playing against you somewhere else.
But you saw in Tampa Bay, he had the same problems last year he had here. He can't
Yeah,
stay on the field, can't practice.
I agree, but you
But
know what?
was
He could be a good coach in the locker room.
All right.
Now the other thing, Tannehill counts $36.6 million.
There you
You're
go.
talking about Dupree. Now you're crossing over into a line of, if you go down this, what you're talking about with Tannehill, you're talking about our championship window's gone. Now we're rebuilding. We're resetting.
Hey, I think this new guy coming in is sat down with Vrabel, and they've talked, and I don't believe the roster that they've got fits his style, fits the NFL style, and it's time to rebuild it a little bit.
But rebuilding now is not 5 years like it used to be. It's 2 years at tops.
Mm-hmm.
Because after this year, the Titans, because Henry and Tannehill both, we have $132 million nearly under the cap starting 2024. But your foundation piece here is Jeffrey Simmons.
You got to sign him.
That's your foundation piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think he's the next Aaron Donald. I think
and we hope
the next he might be. He might be there now.
And you just hope that when somebody like that's got all that ability signs that big second year contract, they're not satisfied. Because I think that's what happens with a Lewan. When he signed that, I'll never forget Aaron, my son was with the Titans then. When he signed that contract, right after he signs that contract, what's he come in? He comes in an all white tuxedo with his big white cowboy hat, and Boss Hog is here.
But y'all remember Albert Hainsworth when he got his money? Same thing happened. He was Godzilla the year before, and he was Dino the year after.
That was one of the most dominant years of a defensive lineman ever, and then it just went away.
Yeah,
he gained 90 pounds the next year.
I know it's over.
And that's what I'm talking about. Is are you satisfied?
Right.
Yep.
Are you satisfied? You watch a lot of play, and I do a lot of players when it's the year that their fourth, their fifth year. Look how good they play that the year before.
Big Jeff probably didn't have as good a year as he's been having, but I think if you knew how hurt his ankle really was all year, and he didn't miss, and he kept playing through it, and that tells you a lot about him.
And Big Jeff didn't have our good defense.
We were missing Autry there for a long time.
Missing Autry
and Landry.
That's the
Landry,
one.
Yeah.
Landry takes away because you don't have the Landry out there that can go. Then you focus back in to Jeffrey. You got Landry out there. You got to shift some weight out there, which either is going to free. You pick your poison. You're going to put them in there for Simmons, or you going to put them out there for Landry because you only got 11.
I do think you're going to see Tannehill and Henry back next year.
You do,
unless
all right, that's what I was
unless there's someone who wants to trade,
right?
And that's where I'm thinking.
Well, they're going to be
something.
Hey,
you might see a trade.
New York is on the books with
And
Tannehill talking, and
Buffalo's
Buffalo's
talk about Buffalo and Henry.
all right, let's just say they don't. We probably won't hear any news this week on Dupree because they're probably going to wait till June 1st.
Or make a trade, which I assume before the draft he's traded. He will not be on
so maybe we might have some news this week of a straggler here and there getting released, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You got more coming.
Titans are going through this. The other 31, most of the other 31 teams in there are going through it.
Look at if you go to Spot Track, you guys out there at home and look at it, you'll be amazed at how some of these teams are 80, 90, $100 million over the cap.
And where's this? What'd you call it?
Spot Track.
Spot Track.
Or you can go to over the cap, whatever team, over the cap Titans, over the cap Chiefs.
Well, I mean, and you look at the teams like the Rams.
They're like 96.
The Rams
over.
built for those 2 run years, and knew the bottom was coming off. They were pulling the rug after that. They knew that it's going to be a total rebuilding.
New
There's a
Orleans,
lot.
86 million.
There's
Wow.
a lot
How
of
can you
teams.
be New Orleans at 86 million? Over?
There's a lot of teams that do that.
Yeah.
Then you got other teams like the Bengals who have Joe Burrow who are 44 million under.
Oh, they're going to be tough when they.
But the one I did notice
And
when I
the
was going
Eagles.
through this,
And the Eagles.
the Eagles.
Look at the draft picks the Eagles got, and they're
I
playing
know
in
it.
the Super Bowl.
I know they're going to be tough for a few years.
I did
If they
notice
can hold
the
it together.
Browns have always been way up there with the Bengals.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
That Watson contract kills them. They're like
Yeah,
40 million under.
that was crazy. Didn't make any sense. Well, guys, we need to wrap things up. But our eyes are definitely going to be tuned in this week to see what the Titans do and the talk in the NFL. We're definitely going to keep our eyes on our two wrestlers today.
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
And,
Keep eyes on that's
and then-
big for those young
yeah.
men.
Yep.
And our basketball teams are continuing to play. Community Girls and Cascade Boys, Webb, both teams. We're going to watch them move forward. Wish them the best luck. Get out and support those guys. And then, of course, we've got college basketball coasting in here to March Madness. And we want to continue to keep our eyes on the MTSU Lady Raiders,
Yep.
Coach Ensel over there. But, guys, we appreciate you watching. I want to tell you about another Facebook page that we've started. It's called Bedford County Sports. We hope to get scores up and bring you just a special dose of coverage for Bedford County sports. And we're looking for sources and resources. So if you guys want to help out in any way, just send a message to Bedford County Sports on Facebook, and we'll get you hooked up so you can provide information for us, because we want to get word out about all of our county teams, not just high school, but junior high and the community teams that are out there.
David,
Kenny?
spring sports.
Yeah, it
just around-
started. Yeah.
I would not have been here today had the weather not, because we had a high school play day, had a great middle school play day last week.
Yeah.
And like there was like 20 teams, high schools getting ready. And I think all the high school teams, I know the community softball team is coming off a state run. We got several baseball teams that are, I think, the spring sports.
Right.
Soccer is kicking up, and
No lemons were thrown at you, right? When you're on
no,
No lemons.
No
but
lemons.
I had some things that happened, but it's fun. But a lot of good stuff happens in the spring. We've got some pretty good middle school, high school, spring sports teams
For sure.
softball, baseball, soccer that have made runs the
Yep.
last couple of years. So we want to push them a little bit.
Absolutely. Sports never dies, guys. There's
Never.
always something happening
There's
going
always
on. So
something going
we're
on.
always going to be here. So every Saturday morning, catch us here at 9 a.m. Hope you'll join us again next week and get out and support your teams.